When you're ready to build your website, of course you're excited to get started right away. But there's a few things that you may want to prepare first. Let's dive into Lesson 3 of how to build a business website in a weekend. In this lesson, you'll learn what to prepare so that when you start building your business website, you'll have everything you need and the process will go as smoothly as possible. We will talk about your ideal customer avatar, assets such as your logo and images, colors, and the copy for the pages on your website. So let's start with your ideal customer avatar. Before you can sell anything, you need to know who you're selling to, what their problems and challenges are, and how your product or service can help. And when it comes to marketing and developing your marketing strategy, it's also helpful to know where your ideal customer hangs out. So are they on Facebook or on TikTok? So all of these things will help you create a better product, and it will help you figure out how to market it so that it actually makes sales. So how do you figure out your ideal customer avatar? You simply ask yourself a few questions. Now, I want to preface this with a disclaimer because I want to be sensitive about not labeling people, not perpetuating stereotypes, and not condoning sexism, racism, or ageism. But the reality is that certain groups of people will be more interested in certain types of products. So for example, if you're selling products associated with pregnancy, it's pretty likely that the majority of people who are interested in buying from you are going to be women. So just sit yourself down and ask yourself some questions such as, is my ideal customer male, female, or fluid? How old are they? What is their education level? How much money do they make per year? What are their interests and hobbies? Who do they admire? Where do they hang out online? What are their favorite social communities? So to help you think about these questions, we've put together an interactive worksheet. At the end of this video, be sure to download it, fill it out, and that should help you figure out your ideal customer avatar. Next, you'll need a logo for your website. Now remember, our goal for our website is rapid implementation. So that means if you spent more than 20 minutes on your logo, that's too long. Of course, it is tempting to hire a logo designer and pay $2,000 for an amazing logo. And if you have the capital for that, then that's really cool. But the reality is that at the beginner stage, most people are on a budget and it's more worthwhile to focus on what's going to generate revenue. Minor things like a logo, just get it done cheaply and quickly and move on. So how can you create a logo cheaply and quickly? Well, I've got two suggestions for you. Suggestion number 1 is to use a text logo. Now I know text logos are pretty boring, but they are effective. In fact, several big name brands use a text logo. And if you'd like to learn more about text logos, we do have a blog post on the subject, which will be linked below. To create a text logo, you can use Adobe Illustrator, or you can use free software such as Inkscape. So I'll show you how to do that very quickly. To create a text logo, you can use something like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, or you can use free software such as Inkscape. So I'll show you how to do that really quickly. So here we are in Inkscape. The first thing you'll need to do is size your document to the size of the logo you need. So we'll go to File, and then we'll go to Document Properties. And then under Custom Size, we're going to change this to pixels. And now we want 250 by 40. So there's no save button or anything. All you have to do is click the X to exit out of this window. And now you can see our document has been made very, very small. So we can go to the Zoom tool and just zoom in on this document. And now I'll simply click the Text tool and I'll place my cursor where I want my text to begin. And now I'll simply type the name of my logo. Now, if you like, you can change the font for your logo. So I'll just highlight the entire logo and I'll go up to the upper left-hand corner and I'll choose a new font. And of course, you can change things like the weight of the font and the size of the font. To move this element around on the page, simply click the Selection tool and you'll see the bounding box for your logo, so make sure that's highlighted, and then you can use your arrow keys to move this around, or you can also use the mouse to drag it. When you have a design that you are reasonably happy with, then you'll need to export it. So we're going to go to File and Export PNG Image, and that will open a window to the right. We are going to export the entire page because that will include the entire document area. We want to make sure this says 250 by 40. Make sure that you're exporting to the right location and using the right file name, and then simply click the Export button. So when you export this PNG, the background for the image will be transparent, which is probably what you want. Otherwise, if you were to export a JPEG, which does not support transparency, depending on your design, you could end up with a white background, which doesn't really look great if you want to use a colored header on your website. You'll probably also want to create a version of your logo for use on dark backgrounds. If you recall, I used dark text on a transparent background, and so that's not going to look so good if I use a dark background, such as black. It's just not going to read. So what you'll want to do is put together a lighter version, so the logo itself will need to be white or a light color, so it'll look nice on something like black or dark gray. So after putting together those two versions of your logo, you'll have a simple text logo that looks decent and only took a few minutes to create. My second suggestion for creating a logo quickly is to use a service such as Canva. Canva is really easy to use. They have tons of logo templates to choose from, and they're super easy to customize. But you do need to be a little bit careful with Canva because most of their logo templates have some kind of colored background, so you'll just need to remember that, so you remember to select it and remove it before you export. In addition, in order to save a PNG with a transparent background, you'll need to sign up for their Pro service. It is free for 30 days, just a little bit of a hassle to sign up and then cancel. So let's take a look at Canva. So let's go ahead and choose Logo. As you can see, they have several different logo templates and they are all categorized. Let's look for the badge type of logo. Here it is, and let's select See All. And let's choose this template. So here you can see that colored background I was talking about. To select it, simply click on it and then click the trash can icon to get rid of it. And now we can simply change the text just by clicking on it and then typing something else. When you're ready to export, simply click the download button. You do want a PNG, and you do have the option for a transparent background, but if you click on this, you'll notice that we are prompted to sign up for Canva Pro. So as you can see, it only takes a few minutes to come up with a simple but nice looking logo. Let's move on to preparing images. Now, as far as images are concerned, the very best thing you can do is take your own professional quality photos that are specific to your brand and that show off your product. And that is especially true if your website is about you providing a specific service. The photos need to be of you. However, some of you will have websites where you might be able to get away with using stock photography. We have a blog post which we will link below on some great places to get stock photos and how to use them on your website. Personally, Pexels is my go-to when it comes to stock photography. Now, when you take photos or choose photos from a stock photography website, my advice for you is to gather a variety of sizes and orientations. And that's because sometimes on your website, you'll want a section with a photo background, you'll want a main subject of the photo on one side, and you'll want text to fill the other. Well, if all of your photos have the subject right in the middle of the photo, it becomes more difficult to achieve that layout. So keeping in mind that you have no idea yet where you're going to use your photos or what your layout will look like, just snap a few photos with different framing so you have more choices later on. Next up, you'll need to figure out which colors to use on your website. Brands typically have a set color palette with anywhere from 1 to 3 main colors. Here at Thrive Themes, I believe it's Shane who likes to say, you can choose any 3 colors as long as 2 of them are black and white. Now, I don't want you to spend too long thinking about a main brand color, because when I show you how to set up your site using Thrive Theme Builder, you'll see that it's super easy to change. You can make the change in one area, which will affect the main color for your entire site. So how do you pick a color? How does the system work? Well, there are several different ways to identify specific colors. You may have heard of RGB or CMYK. I recommend using hex codes. A hex code is a 6-digit code that identifies a specific color. So to pick a color, you can simply Google color picker, and Google will give you this handy little tool, and you can drag the slider around to the general color that you're interested in. And then you can use the actual color picker to view different shades. When you've found a shade that you like, simply jot down the hex code at the bottom of the color picker, and that's what you'll use to create your website. Now, after you get your site up and running, you may want to revisit your brand colors, and at that point, you can add a couple more accent colors. My favorite site for choosing color combinations is Coolers. You simply press the space bar to see new color combinations. And if you see a color you really like and want to see how it looks beside other colors, you can simply lock it, and then you can continue generating more combinations. You can also drag colors around, and when you've settled on a color combination, you can simply note the hex codes at the bottom of the page for each color. Next, let's talk about the pages that comprise your website. You'll need to prepare copy and photos for all of the following pages: your home page, your about page, your contact page, your services page, and if you have a blog, you'll need your blog post copy and any accompanying images. So let's start with your home page. Now, back in the day, if you were creating a website using WordPress, it was fairly common for your home page to be a blog roll, which is simply a list of your most recent blog posts. But these days, for the typical online business website, there's a couple of problems with just simply displaying a blog roll on your home page. Number one, it doesn't show off your business, because just reading through the headlines of your most recent blog posts doesn't really let your visitors know what services or products you provide. Number two, a blog roll on its own doesn't build your business in terms of conversions and meeting marketing goals. Now, don't get me wrong, it does provide valuable content, which is very important, but to take advantage of the real estate on your homepage, you need just a little bit more. So we recommend that on your homepage, you make sure to include 2 things: your unique selling point and some kind of call to action. Your unique selling point is what you have to offer that makes you better than your competition. So now, how do you find your unique selling point? Well, you can ask yourself a few questions. The most obvious question is, what are the unique features or benefits of your service or product? But you can also consider, what pain points or challenges do you have a wealth of knowledge about? What unique experience, skill, or perspective do you have that your competitors don't? And you can even think about, what is one thing that everyone has in your niche, but you might feel might be holding you back? So that thing that is holding you back could very well be your unique selling point, and you can market that to an audience that shares that characteristic. So think about these questions and jot down some phrases and keywords. And when you write the copy for your homepage, it's helpful for your audience if you include a brief section explaining how what you have to offer makes you better than your competition. Next, let's talk about a call to action. A call to action is inviting someone to take the next step that helps you meet your marketing goal. So if your marketing goal is to grow your email list, you can display an email opt-in on your website and use language that urges people to take action, such as sign up for our email list or subscribe now and get this freebie. A call to action doesn't have to be complicated. You just want to make sure that you're saying something to encourage people to take the next step. Now, you don't have to have every single word of copy pre-written out before you start creating your website. It would just be handy if you had some headline options and some quick blurbs written out, and that way you'll get most of the thinking work done, and when it's time to start building, you won't get stuck just trying to write the copy. You'll also need to prepare some copy for your About page. Now, what's interesting about an About page is that even though your About page is about you or your company, you have to realize that when people read your About page, what they're really interested in is how you can help them. So do you have experiences that they can relate to? Do you have qualifications that prove you know what you're talking about? What it really boils down to is trust. People want to know that they can trust you. So when you write the copy for your About page, there are 3 things to make sure to include. Number 1, faces. People want to see that actual people are willing to stand behind what's being promoted. So don't be shy, put your picture out there, and be proud of your business. Number 2, your values and your mission. People want to know what they're supporting, and they want to know that they're supporting good people. They want to know that this business isn't just some scammer out there out to make a quick buck. Number 3, your origin story. People love to know what brought you to where you are today. So these 3 things are trust signals, and when you have them on your About page, it sends a subtle message that there are real people behind this business who are trustworthy. But of course, writing about yourself can be quite difficult, and it can make you sound like you're bragging, arrogant, self-important, etc. So it's really important to craft your About page to cater to your audience's perspective and let them know how your mission and your values lend themselves to helping your audience. Now, if you would like more information about how to write a fantastic About page, be sure to check out our Thrive University course, the About Page Formula, and that should help you get your About page written in no time. Next, your contact page. Your contact page is important because it's a convenient way for people to get in touch with you if they want to hire you for a service or if they have a question about a product. The problem with a lot of contact pages is that they're usually quite boring and they don't really inspire people to want to contact you. So when you create your contact page, consider what you'll want to include. You can include things like testimonials, social proof, for example, displaying logos of publications where your business has been featured, a physical address, phone number, and also as your company grows, you may find that you receive the same inquiries over and over again, so you might want to create a frequently asked questions section so that people can get answers before sending in a question. Or you might want to link to blog posts or pages that people have indicated are helpful. For an in-depth look at different contact page examples and how to create them, be sure to check out our article on how to create a kick-ass contact page. Another page you might need is a services page. So if your business provides a service, for example, let's say you are a freelance book editor, it'll be helpful to your audience if they know what the service entails, if they're a good fit for the kind of books you edit, what the lead time on booking your service is, what the experience will be like when they hire you. And don't forget that the services page is almost like a sales page. So it's a great place to put an opt-in form or a contact form. Next, to blog or not to blog? That is the question. So do you need a blog on your website? Well, there are several upsides to having a blog. It establishes you as an authority, provided that your blogs are useful and valuable. A blog gives you a reason to email your mailing list every week, just letting people know that you have a new blog post up. And this is handy if you have trouble coming up with email newsletter content, but you want to keep people aware of your brand. A blog also gives you more content to post on social media. Posting regularly on social media generally means that your brand will have more reach, although that isn't always the case, particularly on Facebook. A blog also potentially means that there's more content on your website, so potentially your website can rank higher on Google, which of course means more organic traffic. And I keep saying potentially because in order for your website to benefit from a blog, the blog truly has to be useful and valuable. Now, what are the arguments for not having a blog? Well, if you aren't going to publish consistently, then I would generally advise you not to do a blog. And that's because once you start a blog, your audience is going to come to expect regular blog updates. It's very common for people to start a blog, but then after a few months feel less and less motivated to keep blogging. And so seeing old blog posts and no new ones makes your website look out of date and unattended to. Now, as far as how many blog posts to prepare, if you're going to do a big launch for your new website, post it on social media, etc., I recommend having at least 5 blog posts published, and 10 is better. And that's so people actually have things to read when they look at your website, and they can get a better idea if your business is a good fit for them. However, there are no hard and fast rules for this. If you want to publish your website and 1 blog post is all you have, well, 1 is a lot better than none, right? So you can always write another blog post tomorrow and another one after that, and after a week, you'll be on a roll. So just to recap, it'll be handy if you can prepare the following things before you start building your website: your ideal customer avatar, your logo, your brand color, images, copy for your homepage, copy for your about page, contact page, and services page, and blog content. All right, we are ready to get our hands dirty. Let's move on to the next lesson where you will be signing up for a web host. Now, the very next lesson is signing up for WPX, and the lesson after that is signing up for Siteground. You can choose whichever one suits your business. All right, so click the link for the next lesson and I'll meet you over there.